Punisher, they won't back down, screaming out loud in every town. Stand against the system that's gone insane, fighting like lions, don't feel no pain. Abolish CPS, their rally cry. No kids for cash, we won't comply. Make parenting great, let's take a stand. Tiff and the Punisher, hand in hand. Voices heard, don't tread on me. Taking back rights, we will be free. Constitution in our veins, breaking these chains and claiming gains. Abolish CPS, their rally cry. No kids for cash, we won't comply. Make parenting great, let's take a stand. Tiff and the Punisher, hand in hand.
They are taking our kids every day. I shout them in and no one has a thing to say. For those who have been isolated, don't be worried, you have a voice today. So listen up everyone, here is the story. Child Protective Services is real. CPS is what they call it. They want our kids because it fills a lot of people's wallet. We all think it won't be us. We say when they come we will be so tough. It all sounds good when there's no one to take them. But when they come, your voice gets to breaking. Stay calm, step away. CPS ain't taking no one today. We are educated. Stay calm, step away. CPS, you need to leave. I know the tricks up your sleeves. You can't do what you're trying to do. We have done our homework. Don't do a damn thing without a warrant. You no longer will steal our kids this way. Tiff and the Punisher have come for the calling. They are giving us the CPS warning. Their voice is loud and clear. We stop losing our kids this year. Tiff wants to fight the entire planet. She is tired of our kids being taken, god damn it. She's been fighting CPS for 30 years, bringing children home from this disgusting mess. The Punisher is screaming out loud, abolish CPS and tear it down. I want all our kids to come back. Look at all those kids' pictures held up like thin tags. Together we are stronger than we need. We will tear down CPS with high speed. We will do so much being together. Birds of a feather flock together. So watch out CPS, here we come. Picking you one by one. We promise wants to bring back the family and prosecute the caseworkers unhandily. So give us back the kids you have taken, Tiff and the Punisher, sending you all on a vacation. The one with bars in the windows, and the only games you play are on Nintendos. Corruption in courts, here we come. We won't stop until it's done. You judges need to learn what you stand for. This is Tiff and the Punisher Warrior, and we cry out to all of you out there. We need support for a cause that many don't care. All children are being stolen way too often. So CPS, we plan on doing the stopping. Stop.
Look, I didn't want to move. I didn't want to play anything song because the internet's working just right. I'm watching it like flip around on the bottom. I'm like, I don't know. Don't touch anything. Just keep doing what you're doing. I didn't even move this whole time. I was like, I had to change my shirt. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not even moving because everything's doing just fine. So this is what we get right now. That's it. So that's that. So what's up? What's up, everybody? Sorry about last night. My fault again. I tell you, I think they're coming after us. I really do. I don't, because is this room in this house, that's the only room that we have problems with the internet, that everything else is off right now. Like all the things that I get called on, all my computers that are in here, everything's off. The only thing that's working is this. And I got it going through like 5 different devices to make this thing work. I got like the cell phones on it. I got and this is my laptop, my main computer. I got everything else going through this to make the internet work. But there's nothing else in here. But you go in the house, everything's working fine. Makes no sense. So I don't know if they got one of them little things that they, and like launch at my room. I don't know. But anyway, we're here right now, so we're gonna take the best of the time we have. So, what's up, Tiff?
Yeah, it's hot.
It is. It is very hot.
Yeah.
It is. I don't know what it's like down in West Virginia, but up here it's like 77, 80 degrees. So,
it was 90 here.
Ooh, humid. Humid.
Can you get into your messenger?
Maybe. Let's see.
Because I sent you, it says something cities. I want you to open it so we can look at those cases.
Okay. Yeah, I could get in. Oh yeah, I can get in through here. Yep.
Yep. Adrian sent them to me.
Okay.
And it took me forever to figure out how to download it, upload it, and then print it. But I finally printed it. I just can't get to my printer.
All right. Let's see what we got here. Oh,
it's
now
like
I feel like
16 pages.
Yeah, I see it. Boyd versus United States, Down versus Bidwell, Chameleon versus Lightfoot. Oh yeah. So what are these? These are all constitutional rights cases, case law.
And pro se, there's different ones. Can you pull it up on your screen or no?
Whew. Probably not, because it's from the phone. I wish I could.
No, that's okay.
I just don't want to mess
okay.
with anything, But I wish, son of a biscuit. You know what? I'll do this. Let me see if I upload it to my drive. I might be able to swing this.
Okay. Because I think people, they can get it if they go to get it. Adrian can send it to them, because he sent it to me. And I think everybody should have these too, just like the other ones that I sent you.
Yep, put it in their arsenal.
Yeah.
You can't do anything. You can't do anything until you know your rights. Like you can't fight. You can't fight anybody. You can't go to court and argue for anything. You can't do any of that stuff until you know what you're even arguing. Like how can you go and defend yourself if you don't know what you're even defending or what you have the right to defend, right? Like you got to be able to have the knowledge of this stuff. So it's very important to. I found a new place the other day. It was streetlaw.com or something like that, and that was
Called
pretty
what?
cool. It's called Street Law. I think it was streetlaw.com. And what they are is they're a law thing that teaches teachers. It educates you how to educate other people on law. And they have courses on it and stuff. Okay, Dr. Death, I'll make sure I do that for you ASAP. I will too. But they make sure that they teach you how to, I guess that's what it is, a teaching program to teach law. You know, and your rights and things like that. It's pretty cool. But they have a bunch of free information there on stuff. You got to verify your email and stuff. But once you go through that, you just type in some stuff, what you are and everything and what you're about. And then you get all this free information. And it's a bunch. They have all kinds of good stuff on there. Case law, you know, things that in some sites you even have to pay for. You know, you got to squirm around a little bit for it. But at the end, it's there. Let me see here. All right.
Well, we need that. You need to send me that website when we get off.
All right, here we go. I try this.
Because I'm not going to remember.
If things go right, it's because Tiff wanted me to do this for us. All right.
Well, I don't want to mess up the connection.
Well, I'm already in this deep. It hasn't uploaded yet. All right, so it's coming. I'm just waiting for it to upload. So yeah, what else is going on? Don't forget on the 14th, 10 days from now, another Mr. President, Dear Mr. President thing. That's going to be exciting. We can all send some messages out to the president, see what maybe he'll respond this time. Who knows? You think he listened? I think he listened.
Oh yeah, I think he listened.
So everybody start thinking about what you want to say to him, or messages that you want to convey to the president. And then what did we do last time? Did we read them or did they come on and read them? I know that Naylor made a video and he sent. But what did we do you remember what we did?
We everybody emailed it to the contact information at the White House.
Right, but when we got the messages across, people's messages, did we read those messages? Did people send us messages? Is that what we did?
Well, some people read and some people just spoke from their heart.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you get the opportunity to, what do you give everybody, like 2 minutes or something, right? 2 minutes, something like that, to give a message out live to the president. And, you know, like we all, you know, I'll make a graphic and everything. Maybe this time we'll make like a little card or something that we'll email, you know, like a generic thing that everybody can put their name on, send it to the president, tell him on this date, we're going to send a bunch of news and information his way about CPS. So it's pretty cool. You know, whether they listen or not, I don't know. But you know what? If we don't try, we're not doing anything. It's better than doing nothing, right?
That's right.
So, and that's the thing that everybody's got to remember. You know what? Doing something is better than doing nothing. Like if someone tells you it's stupid or whatever, then don't even listen to them. Just do what you got to do, because if you're doing something, then it's at least it's better than sitting there being depressed and sitting on your couch and whining and crying and being hurt inside. You're doing something, you know, like you're not doing nothing. So don't worry. I had a lady ask the other day on the late night show. She says, what do I say to people when they tell me that this is drama that I'm talking about my case and my kids and everything? And my response was, well, call CPS on them. See how much drama it really is. You know what I mean? Like that's, what the hell? You know, for someone to say that you talking about your case, I would imagine that it is overwhelming for people that this hasn't happened to listen to it. And unfortunately, that's what is stuck in all of our lives. We eat it, we drink it, we sleep it, you know, every person that we're around is involved in it, you know, so it's easy for us to conversate about it. But when you go out into the real world where, you know, they haven't had this happen to them, they don't want to hear it. And that's kind of weird. You know what I mean? It's like, why wouldn't you want to hear about this and think that, man, this shouldn't be going on? I mean, that's just my thought. But you know what? 5 years ago, I used to be the one that would turn my back on you the second you said that CPS took your kids. I would have walked away from you thinking that you were a worthless human being, because I believed that this system our government put into place was right. And I was red, white, and blue and all of that stuff. And then when it even happened to me, I'm like, God, I must be the only person in the world this happened to. I didn't realize it's happening to a kid a minute. You know what I mean? But you find out pretty fast how this is going on in this world and how awful it is. And it sucks, and it's certainly not drama, so don't ever feel that way. If someone does challenge you in that, just turn and walk away, because it's not even worth the fight. But I think a good response would be like, well, how about I call CPS on you, and then we'll see how much drama it really is. I think that would be the response that you should give, because that's a bullshit question. That's even bullshit to say to somebody. I can't even believe someone would have the balls and the audacity to say that to someone. Because you know what? If your kid died, would you be like, hey, you need to move on with this? Like that's another one that people get all the time. Like, you need to move on with this. Move on with this. Our kid's gone. We lost my kid. It's worse. I can say that in a sense. I've been in both of those situations, but it is worse with Nina, because with your kid passing away, you have closure. You know where they are. You've got a place to mourn them, however you got to mourn them. Like there's all of these things. It's done and over with. It's final. With Nina, it's she's out there somewhere, and who knows what's happening to her? Like who knows? You don't hear about it. So every day you wonder what's happening with your kid, what's going on with your kid. Like where are they? Like it's not like you forget about your kids. So if any kids are out there that were foster kids or they've been taken that are watching this, don't ever think that your parents forgot about you. They sure as shit didn't. They think about you. I bet you it's every 5 minutes I think about Nina. Every, if it's a quick glimpse through my mind or whatever, I bet you it might even be every more than that. You know what I mean? I might not say it every 5 minutes, but she goes through my head every, a lot every day. So there's no way that, you forget about it. So it's tough. It's very tough being a parent and having to deal with that. And I couldn't imagine. I'm fortunate to be in the situation I'm in, and I worked my ass off younger to be where I am. But and now I'm not young anymore, I realize. But it's freaking ridiculous. Fastly approaching death. But I couldn't imagine having to be work a 9-to-5 job in a real world situation and have all of this on my mind. Of course, this. I'm not saying you'd be in a show and planning this stuff and all your days surrounded by it, but I couldn't imagine having those thoughts in my head every day. Like, where's my kid? Where's my kid? What's my kid doing? And that breakdown and everything, being at, some type of job, like working at a store or whatever. I'd be on the phone every 5 minutes, like I couldn't imagine it. Must be awful.
Starting July 1st here in Virginia, any child that has been adopted out can now contact the Vital Records Department and get their original birth certificates with their original parents' names on it to find them.
Oh, wow. But that's only if they know that they were adopted, right? Like you got to know. That's only if they know that they were adopted. If they were aware.
Even if their birth certificates were amended, they can get the original copy of their birth certificates.
Right, but they got to know that they were adopted, is what I'm saying. Like if they forgot about their families or whatever, and they've just been with these people, or they came from being a baby. Some of them. I knew a guy that found out he was adopted when he was 45 years old. Can you imagine that, going through your entire life? He never had a clue until he was like 45, and it dropped. Why would you even tell anybody at that point? Why would you even say anything? Because it shattered his world. Like it, completely made his whole life like a lie to him. You know what I mean? So I would convey to anybody, make sure you tell them that stuff, because they will. This day and age with this information out here, people are going to find out. If they were adopted or not. It's only so long before. So if you're harboring children that were someone else's, I would tell them before it, because you know what, you build such a great relationship with them growing up and everything. It'd be a damn shame to see that ruined because you lied. I don't know which one would be worse to find out, but at least they know, and you give them that option, and they wouldn't be hateful towards you, because I know that this gentleman was very angry about it. So that made it tough. So
I also believe that children should know if they're adopted, because this is just my philosophy, right? That's why you should never pin a baby on a man if you know that's not the father. Because my whole thing is, I grew up in a house with a doctor and a nurse too, right? And then I had my dad, the police officer, and the paralegal stepmom. But what happens if that child needs something and they're not a match? Do you understand what I'm saying? That's devastating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They need to know.
Right. I don't know how that even, they just for the blood sense of it, or some rare diseases, or if something comes up. I mean, that's important stuff. What are they gonna, at 50, if dementia runs in their family or whatever, like they need to know these things. That's classic mommy. So your son was taken, you got him back. She's gone for 103 days. That's awesome. He's writing a book. He obviously must be under 18, obviously. But wow, that's crazy. That's awesome that he's writing a book, because more of these kids that have been taken and put in the system need to write about what their experiences were. And I'm sure that there's a lot of them that aren't hellish experiences. I mean, the trauma of being ripped away from your parents has got to be undaunting. That's something that you're never going to fix. Like that's I couldn't even imagine, being a child and doing that. I couldn't imagine doing that and having to go to another place and function with no real world skills. Imagine that you're a little child, you have no real world skills to adapt and everything. You get taken from what your security is and your everything that you lean on, and get put into a new situation, and you have to adapt. You have to learn how to survive. You have to learn that's some major like adulting real quick for an infant or a toddler. You know what I mean? Like they've got to figure it out real fast. That's just terrible. Oh shit. That's just terrible. Terrible.
And their favorite line is, kids are resilient. No, they're not.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, they're not.
No. We have a guy that comes on the show once in a while. You've seen him, Bo, that he spent his entire life trying to get back home. Like the whole time that he was taken away from his parents, and he was taken when he was like 8 or 9. He escaped. He went through like 50 foster homes because he kept escaping from them. And all he was trying to do was get home. That's all he was trying to do was get home. And that was his whole foster experience, was based on him breaking out of these foster homes. And he ended up in these group homes, to juvenile detention, to all of these things. But all the poor kid wanted to do was just go home. That's terrible. And I guarantee you that more of these stories are more often than not than these kids have. They're not sitting at these, if your kids and you're going through this right now and they're visitations and they're like, oh, they don't want to come to visit, and they don't want, look, it's not that they don't want to go, they just have to adapt to their situation. They're making those people mad or upset or whatever, because they don't, like the family that has them has gotten attached to them, so they don't want to feel like they're being replaced. It's a terrible thing. It's a terrible, you're making a 5-year-old make a decision between their real parents and their fake parents. And like it's just absolutely asinine. Absolutely asinine that they do that. But you know what? Until the American people wake up and realize that this is the truth. That it's not, look, these kids that are really being abused deserve Disney World every day, be at the finest resorts, and deserve to get their life back together. That's what that money should be going to. If you're really abused and you get out of there alive, then you should be at Disney World, and you should be learning. You should be having the finest lifestyle until you're 18. Not these kids that didn't deserve this. Not these kids that came from like our house, your house, like places that they were loved and cared for, and because some asshole with a stick up their ass came over one day and decided that, you know what, today's not your day, dude, so we're going to take your kid. I mean, that's really all it is. It's, it's their decision, that decision that they get to make, and because they broke up with their boyfriend or because someone hates them, it's you on the chopping block. And we all know how that is. You're pissed off, you don't have a cigarette and a coffee in the morning. God forbid the first person that gets in front of you at the gas pump. You know what I mean? Like, you're raging bullshit. These people didn't even do anything. Those are the same people that are allowed to take your kid. They wake up, their boyfriend left them, with some other woman. They just found out, they're on their way to your house, and they're pissed off, and they just get to come in and take your kid just because they're pissed. That's the truth of the things. That's really it. That's the reality.
One of the things that I want to work on here is I'm tired of anonymous calls. First of all, there is no anonymity anymore, right? Because you can pull the hotline's numbers with a subpoena. Anyway, if people want to call CPS here in Virginia, you already know I'm going to be working on a committee. I want it passed that they have to, one, give their real name, all their information, and write out an affidavit and turn it into the police department, because that way you can go back and sue that person for making false accusations and false claims against you for destroying your character.
And be arrested for using the
Right,
911
for making
right.
filing a false police report.
Yep. That's what Texas does, right? Texas just passed that. I think it goes through Texas. In Texas, if you call about abuse and everything through CPS, it goes through their dispatch and it goes through the police department. And that's how it goes, because they're trying to cut down on, whatever they're doing. So that's the right way to go, I think. I think that's something definitely to advocate for. And not only that, you have the right to face your accuser. How is that fair that you as a parent don't get to know who the hell called on you, and you'd be like, oh, I know why, because so-and-so did this or so-and-so did that, and this is what's going on here. I see what's happening, but no, they don't do that. It's anonymous. And it was, slander, Dr. Death. And it was, it would save a lot of time too, I think, like people just had to spend the time to write an affidavit that'd cut down on half the complaints. For real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Nobody wants to do that shit.
Because on an affidavit, it's supposed to be the truth. And when you fill out a police report, it clearly states that you're signing under penalty of perjury.
Correct. It's 5 years in prison, right? Up to 5 years in prison and $10,000 fine or something.
And in most places, in most states, you can actually find out who called if you go to circuit court and file a petition to have your case unsealed.
Really?
Yes.
Huh. I didn't know that.
Yes.
All right.
But this is what happens. You go to circuit court, they're going to say, oh, no, you got to go to juvenile and domestic. You go back down there and they're saying, no, you got to go back up there. So they're going to play games with you. But right in their own CPS pamphlet, it clearly states that circuit court is where you go to get your complaint unsealed. And I showed them that. You're not going to be running my behind up and down those steps. I'm sorry.
All right, here we go. Here's these. This is what you wanted here. Court sites up here. Let's see. Let me see how bigger I can make it so everybody can see it.
That's good.
There we go. Justice Bradley. So Boyd versus United States is it may be that it's obnoxious thing in its in mildest form, but illegitimate and unconstitutional practices get their footing in that way, namely by silent approaches and slight deviation from legal modes of procedure. This can only be obviated by adhering to the rule of the constitutional provisions for the security of persons and property should be liberally construed. A close and literal construction deprives them of half their efficiency and leads to gradual depression of the right, as if it constituted more in sound than in substance. It is the duty of the courts to be watchful for the constitutional rights of the citizens and against any stealthy encroachments therein. Their motto should be obsta principalis, I believe.
That's good enough.
Yes, that's enough, Darren. You read enough. Let's go to Downs versus Bidwell. It would be an evil day for American liberty if the theory of a government outside supreme law finds lodgment in our constitutional jurisprudence. No higher duty rests upon the court than to exert its full authority to prevent all violations of the principles of the Constitution. Yep. I believe that's a great one right there. All this stuff is great. Like this stuff, I didn't realize how much power the Sixth Amendment had in it. But boy, does it have a ton of power. Like that's it right there, the Sixth Amendment. Let's see. This one here is Juilliard versus Greenman. Supreme Court Justice Field. There is no such thing as a power of inherent sovereignty in the government of the United States. In this country, sovereignty resides in the people, and Congress can exercise power which they have not, by their Constitution entrusted to it. All else is withheld. That's right. Malloy versus Hogan. All rights and safeguards contained in the first 8 amendments to the federal Constitution are equally applicable. There we go. Norton versus Shelby County. An unconstitutional act is not law. It confers no rights. It imposes no duties, affords no protection. It creates no office. It is in legal contemplation. It is as inoperative as though it had never been passed. That's a good one right there. See, we need to find where, well, we know that they've not been granted authority. The Social Security Act already says that their stuff doesn't allow authority to impose to let them go into homes. But where is it in our government that it says that they're allowed to do what they're doing? And then you slap this little boy on top of them. There you go. Yeah. So that's that. We guys should definitely check this. Go ahead and email us if you want, and we'll send you this stuff. Corruption of authority. Oh, that's the next page. Wow. Okay, good. No man or woman in this country is so high that he is above the law. No officer of the law may set that law at a defiance with impunity. All the officers of the government, from the highest to the lowest, are creatures of the law and are bound to obey it. And then Acts Canon versus Commission on Judicial Qualifications. Acts in excess of judicial authority constitutes misconduct, particularly where a judge deliberately disregards the requirements of fairness and due process. That's going on a lot with the CPS stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know what just fucking happened, but Jesus. Let's see here. Crime is contagious. If the government becomes a lawbreaker, it breeds contempt for law. It invites every man to become law unto himself. It invites anarchy. Oh, here we go. Owen versus City of Independence. Everybody listen up to this one. The innocent individual who is harmed by an abusive governmental authority is assured that he will be compensated for his injury. I believe everybody that has had their children taken by CPS are certainly worthy of that one. That's Owen versus the City of Independence. So write that one down. So Ryan versus the Commission on Judicial Performance. Before sending a person to jail for contempt or imposing a fine, judges are required to provide due process of law, including strict adherence to the procedural requirements contained in the Code of Civil Procedure. Ignorance of these procedures is not mitigating, but an aggravating factor. That's what was that case that was just overturned? The one that everybody talks about.
Which one? The Chevron doctrine or the Jabarski?
Yeah, Chevron, right? Chevron's one that's the no jury trial and everything.
No, that's Jabarski. That's
all right,
PC.
All right, so that's the same thing that they're talking about there. That the judges are required to give you due process of law, which means trial by jury, all of those things. And if you're not, then you that. But that's the same type thing as that right there. All right, here we go. Warnock versus Pecos County, Texas. 11th Amendment does not protect state officials from claims for prospective relief when it is alleged that the state officials acted in violation of federal law. So that means no immunity, right?
Yep.
Dismissal of suit. Let's see. Protect state officials. Here's another. In a motion to dismiss, the material allegations of the complaint are taken as admitted. From this vantage point, courts are reluctant to dismiss complaints unless it appears the plaintiff can prove no set of facts in support of his claim which would entitle him to relief. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, so those are these. Give us an email, guys. Oh, here, everybody talks about habeas corpus. This is Duncan versus Bradley for this. A state trial court's refusal to instruct the jury on an entrapment defense in a second trial on a drug sale charges amounted to prejudicial constitutional error where evidence presented at a first trial warranted such an instruct. To read the entire text of the opinion, do that. I don't even know why I read that because everybody talks about habeas corpus. So I was going off that. Let's see. So here's one, Cooper versus O'Connor. There's a general rule that a ministerial officer who acts wrongfully, although in good faith, is nevertheless liable in a civil action and cannot claim immunity of the sovereign. Wow, that's interesting. Davis versus Burrs. A judge must be acting within his jurisdiction as to subject matter and person to be entitled to immunity from civil actions in his act. Oh, this is another good one. Hoffsummer versus Hayes. The courts are not bound by an officer's interpretation of the law under which he presumes to act. Huh. So yeah, a lot of good stuff. But I know that we started late a little bit today because we've been having these internet problems, but I also know that we need to end now because we got another thing that we got to get on.
Yeah, we got a Zoom meeting.
So I apologize to everybody about a short show tonight, but we'll call it my fault, so blame it on the fat guy. That's what I like to say. But we do have to part with you guys for now. I apologize, but we'll be back tomorrow night. Promise. I'll get this internet thing. I think I figured out how to lick it anyway. Thank you, Mr. Gunning, for CPS. And I wasn't ignoring you today. I've had a lot of things that I've got going on. I will call you here shortly. But me and Tiff, for now, we've got a meeting that we've got to get to. It's very important. So, guys, we'll catch you all tomorrow night, same time, same place. We'll be here. We're out of here.
Sure, they won't back down, screaming out loud in every town. Stand against the system that's gone insane, fighting like lions, don't feel no pain. Abolish CPS, their rally cry. No kids for cash, we won't comply. Make parenting great, let's take a stand. Tiff and the Punisher, hand in hand. Voices heard, don't tread on me. Taking back rights, we will be free. Constitution in our veins, breaking these chains and claiming gains. Abolish CPS, their rally cry. No kids for cash, we won't comply. Make parenting great, let's take a stand. Tiff and the Punisher, hand in hand. CPS, stealing kids, they gotta go. Fight the good fight, let everybody know.
raise our fist and say aloud,
No more silence, join the crowd. Abolish CPS, their rally cry. No kids for cash, we won't comply.